Have you ever noticed how some people move through life completely alone, and they seem fine? While everyone else is texting friends, making weekend plans, posting group photos, these people exist in their own orbit, silent and self-contained. And here's what's strange: society tells us this is wrong. That something must be broken, that humans are social creatures, and anyone without friends must be suffering. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the psychology behind having no friends is far more complex, more deliberate, and more misunderstood than we ever imagined? Let's start with something most people get wrong. When you see someone with no friends, your first thought is probably, they must be lonely. They must want connection but can't find it. But here's the thing: many people without friends aren't looking for them. They're not failing at social connection. They've opted out entirely. And that choice, it's rooted in psychology so deep that even they might not fully understand it. You see, having no friends isn't always about rejection. Sometimes it's about protection. Let me paint you a picture. You'll recognize them once you know what to look for. They're the ones who cancel plans at the last minute, every single time. They prefer texting over calling, emailing over meeting. They work alone, eat alone, exist alone. Have colleagues but no close friends. Seem perfectly content in their solitude. They never post on social media, or barely exist there at all. They keep interactions surface level, always. These aren't antisocial people. They're not cruel or cold. In fact, many are kind, thoughtful, even warm in brief interactions. But they never let you in. And this is where it gets interesting. Here's what's really happening: these people have built walls so high, they've forgotten they're even there. Psychologists call this hyperindependence. It's a defense mechanism born from one core belief: people will let you down, so it's safer not to need them at all. Think about it. If you never have friends, you never experience betrayal, disappointment, rejection. You're in complete control. Safe. Untouchable. But here's the truth: that safety comes at a cost. Let's talk about where this starts. Most people who have no friends didn't wake up one day and decide to be alone. This pattern was carved into them, usually in childhood. Maybe they grew up in a home where emotions were ignored, where weakness was punished, where asking for help meant you were weak. Attachment theory tells us that children who don't receive consistent love and support learn a dangerous lesson: you can only rely on yourself. So they adapt. They become self-sufficient. They learn to hide their needs, bury their emotions, and never, ever ask for help. And as they grow up, that adaptation becomes their identity. Here's something fascinating: people with no friends are often incredible observers. They watch, they notice, they see the dynamics of friendships from the outside, the drama, the betrayals, the messy emotional labor, and they think, why would I want that? They're not wrong, exactly. Friendships are messy. They require openness, compromise, and risk. But here's what they miss: they're also the source of joy, meaning, and deep human connection. The problem is, when you've spent your whole life on the outside looking in, that connection feels foreign, even dangerous. Mirror neurons in your brain are designed to help you empathize, to feel what others feel. But when you spend years in isolation, those pathways weaken. Connection doesn't just feel unnecessary, it feels uncomfortable. And this is where it gets complex. People without friends often wear their independence like armor. I don't need anyone. I'm fine on my own. Friends are overrated. They'll tell you this with conviction. And they might even believe it. But the psychology behind this runs deeper. What looks like strength is often fear. What looks like choice is often conditioning. What looks like contentment is often resignation. Because here's the thing: humans are wired for connection. Every major study on happiness, health, and longevity points to the same conclusion: relationships matter. Deep, meaningful connections make us healthier, happier, and help us live longer. So when someone says they don't need friends, what they're really saying is, I've learned how to survive without them. Survival isn't the same as thriving. Let me show you how this pattern reinforces itself. You start out alone. Maybe by choice, maybe by circumstance. At first, it's uncomfortable. You notice the absence. You feel the silence. But then something shifts. You adapt. You fill your time with work, hobbies, routines. You become efficient, productive, self-reliant. And the longer you stay in that pattern, the harder it becomes to break. Because here's what happens: your brain starts to associate solitude with safety. Social situations become stressful. Small talk feels exhausting. Even the idea of making friends feels overwhelming. Psychologists call this avoidant attachment. You're not avoiding people because you don't like them. You're avoiding the emotional risk that comes with letting them close. And the longer you avoid, the more justified it feels. But here's what's really happening beneath the surface. That wall you built, it's not just keeping pain out, it's keeping life out. You don't experience rejection, true, but you also don't experience being truly seen, being celebrated, being supported when life gets hard, the warmth of knowing someone has your back. And here's the quiet tragedy. Most people without friends don't realize what they're missing until it's too late. A health crisis hits. A loss occurs. A moment of joy happens with no one to share it with. And suddenly, that fortress of independence feels less like strength and more like isolation. Here's something else worth understanding. The human brain has what's called a negativity bias. We remember negative experiences more vividly than positive ones. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. But for people without friends, this bias becomes a trap. You remember every friendship that ended badly, every betrayal, every disappointment, every time someone let you down. And you forget, or downplay, the good parts. The laughter, the support, the moments of genuine connection. Your brain tells you, see, friends hurt you, stay alone, it's safer. And you listen. But the truth is, over time, being alone becomes more than a choice. It becomes who you are. You start to define yourself by your solitude. I'm a loner. I'm independent. I don't need people. And once that becomes your identity, changing feels like losing yourself. Who would you be with friends? What would that even look like? The unknown feels more terrifying than the loneliness you've learned to manage. Here's what society gets wrong. We assume people without friends are broken, socially inept, unlikable. But many of these people are intelligent, kind, capable. They're not lacking social skills. They're protecting themselves with those skills. They can make small talk. They can be charming in brief interactions. They can even seem warm and open. But they never let it go deeper. They never let you see the messy, vulnerable, real parts of themselves. Because vulnerability is where the danger lives. Now, let's be clear about something important. Not everyone without friends is hiding behind walls. Some people genuinely prefer solitude. They're introverted. They recharge alone. They have rich inner worlds that fulfill them. That's different. The people I'm talking about aren't choosing solitude from a place of wholeness. They're choosing it from a place of fear. And you can tell the difference by asking one question. If you want a deep connection, could you create it? If the answer is, I could, but I don't want to, that's one thing. If the answer is, I've forgotten how, or, it feels impossible, that's something else entirely. For many people, this pattern continues indefinitely. Years pass. Decades, even. But sometimes, something happens. A crisis. A loss. A moment of profound loneliness that breaks through the numbness. And suddenly, the walls don't feel like protection anymore. They feel like a prison. This is the moment when people start asking, how did I get here? How did I become someone with no friends? And this is where it gets interesting. Because the answer isn't simple. It's not about learning social skills or forcing yourself to be more outgoing. It's about understanding the wound beneath the pattern, the fear beneath the wall, the pain you've been protecting yourself from all along. Here's what's fascinating about all of this. The same psychology that keeps people isolated can also be the key to connection. Once you understand that your solitude is protection, not preference, something shifts. You stop blaming yourself. You stop seeing yourself as broken. You start seeing yourself as someone who learned to survive in the only way that felt safe. And maybe, just maybe, you can begin to ask, what would it look like to feel safe with people instead of safe from them? If you're someone with no friends, here's what I want you to hear. You're not broken. You're not weird. You're not unlovable. You're someone who learned that people are dangerous. That vulnerability leads to pain. That the safest place to be is alone. And for a long time, that belief protected you. But protection isn't the same as happiness. Safety isn't the same as fulfillment. And the walls you built to keep pain out, they're also keeping life out. Having no friends isn't just about missing social activities or not having someone to text. It's about living in a world where you've convinced yourself that being alone is easier than being seen. But here's the final truth, the one that might change everything. You don't have to tear down all your walls at once. You just have to leave one window open. One person, one moment of honesty, one small risk. Because the opposite of loneliness isn't having 100 friends. It's having one person who sees you, really sees you, and stays. And maybe that's the real psychology of people with no friends. If this video resonated with you, you're not alone in feeling alone. There are thousands of people watching this right now who understand exactly what you're going through. Leave a comment below. It doesn't have to be your whole story. Just one word that describes how you're feeling right now. Or share one small thing you learned about yourself while watching this. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found value in this exploration of the human mind, subscribe to this channel. We dive deep into the psychology behind the behaviors we don't talk about, the quiet struggles, the hidden patterns, the parts of ourselves we keep in the shadows. Hit that like button if you want to see more content like this. It tells YouTube to share this with others who might need it. And most importantly, if you recognized yourself in this video, I want you to take one tiny action this week. Not a huge leap, just one small step. Reply to one message. Sit at a different table at lunch. Say yes to one invitation. Or simply acknowledge to yourself that maybe, just maybe, you're ready for something different. You don't have to change everything. You just have to start somewhere. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.